Okay, like every team in the country, we feel really good about our class. I think that's a theme throughout the whole nation, but we really feel that we got some real good players that were on the fence, to sign today, and I think obviously a great deal of that has to do with the success we had late in the season, winning the Pac-12 championship. First and foremost was probably the biggest factor in getting these guys that were on the fence to come our way. So we feel like we took care of most all our needs. We held back, several scholarships for portal / late qualifiers, whatever comes about in the next 9-10 months, because recruiting is never over anymore with the portal in place. You can take players all the way up through fall camp, and so I think we struck the right balance with getting the guys signed now, yet having X amount of scholarships left over for needs that arise that are unforeseen. When you break it down, 10 offensive players were signed, 10 defensive players. 18 of those 20 total players were high school kids, a couple transfers, 4-year transfers. No junior college players, at least not as of yet. Possibility that that we may go that route with the scholarships we have left. Helped ourselves at a lot of spots. Quarterback, we're thin at quarterback, losing having a quarterback transfer out, and so we had 2 quarterbacks that we targeted and had commitments from early, Nate Johnson and Brandon Rose. Excited about those guys. Feel like we have 2 of the best linebackers in the West, maybe in the country, in Justin Medlock and Lander Barton. Those guys are really good, and so really excited about getting those guys in the fold. Some big offensive linemen, Tyler Knock, Keith Olson, big 6'6" plus, 300-pound plus guys that are what you look for lengthwise in the offensive line. Terrific running back in Jalen Glover from Florida, over 6,000 yards rushing in his career, over 2,000 yards this year. I think those stats are correct. Is that right, Bobby? So just a tremendous player. Reminds me a lot of Maurice Jones-Drew. Same dimensions. 5'7", about 210. By no means is he, where Maurice was by his career in college, but he's got a chance to be very good and the same style of play as Maurice. Added a couple tight ends, both of them 4-year transfers. With departure of some of our tight ends, that'll help us there. Continue to be very strong at that position. Wideouts really helped ourselves. Teo Johnson, Ryan Pepins, Chris Reed, with another 1 or 2 that will be named in the ensuing time period. You got to wait until all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, but feel very good about that. Defensive end, got some speed rushers, Kaeo Akana from Hawaii and Chase Kennedy from Texas, good players. A corner, Elijah Davis. A couple safeties that we needed, Jocelyn Malaska from Oklahoma, and Sione Vaki. He was a missionary, church mission, served a church mission. We signed him actually 2 years ago. He's back, and he'll be joining us. D tackles, local kid, Dallas Vakalahi. He will also be serving a church mission, so we won't see him for a couple of years, but he's a guy we're excited about. And Keanu Tanavasa, who's coming back off a mission. So the revolving door, guys leaving, guys coming back, all balances out, but we feel like we're in a good spot with those missionaries. And then an athlete, Carson Tabarachi. He's just a we're not sure where he's going to play. He's going to play somewhere, I promise you that, but we're not sure if it's going to be tight end, running back, linebacker. He's a guy that could play several spots, and so we're excited about him as well. So excited about the whole class, and like I said, we really feel like we helped ourselves and still have the ability to patch up any holes that may occur in the roster or position groups as you move forward and guys decide to exit if we have any of those. So I think I covered every guy, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yep, all the guys that we can talk about right now I believe I covered. So questions?
Kyle, do you expect any more business today or even through the end of the week in terms of?
Yes, probably, one for sure today, but it's kind of, we have 2 things we want to adhere to. Number one, they have to be cleared and signed and processed with our compliance with the NC2A. And number 2, at the players' request, some don't want to announce just yet. They want to wait until, maybe they're having their own announcement party or whatever. So we want to make sure we satisfy those two requirements or requests. First one a requirement, second one a request. And so, yes, the short answer is yes. We should have another sign today, but when we announce it will be up to the signee.
Now, as far as the backers go, bringing in Lander was obviously a big key, but with you guys only losing especially Nephi, but then you guys also have Corinne Reed, Ethan Calvert, Mason Tufaga, guys like that down the line. Was linebacker really a spot where you guys were trying to focus on?
Yeah, we always want to be up to the numbers. We have a budgeted number for each position group, and we were down a couple numbers when you talk about Devin Lloyd moving on, maybe Nephi, and so we felt like those two guys were exactly, what we needed, and we feel like we really bolstered that position group. It's going to make for great competition, and that always brings out the best in everybody, is competition.
And then where does Lander, stack up against when you watch his film compared to Cody Barton?
Cody was not quite as college ready when he was in high school. He was a little undersized. He worked his tail off to put on the weight when he got here, but Lander has got a much bigger frame. He's a couple inches taller, probably 15 pounds heavier than Cody was coming out of high school. And so, and to take nothing away from Cody, he was a terrific linebacker for us, but we think Lander's upside is tremendous.
Callie, this is the first year you've gotten Chad Opus as in the recruiting process. It seems like you were able to get in the doors with a lot of receivers this year. How do you feel like he's been able to kind of add to your recruiting pool?
Very well. He's done a great job. He works hard. He's a tireless recruiter. Has a great rapport with the players. Seems to really connect with his recruits. And you see right here, we have 3 right now. We're going to get another 1 or 2 before it's all over.
With that, kind of following up on that, you've got a lot of guys that can potentially play on both sides of the ball, DB or receiver. Do you, at this point in this time, do you feel like you've got a good idea of that, or are you kind of taking some of these guys expecting to switch maybe some of them?
We've got a pretty good idea where we think everyone's going to end up, but for like Carson Tabaracci, we don't know for sure. And so, fortunately, a lot of these guys, 9 of these guys are here at mid-year, which allows you to try them at different spots in spring, which is a huge advantage and a huge luxury to be able to find their best and their highest ceiling position during spring. That way, when you head into summer and fall, you've already got that set.
This is the 5th year the early signing period has been in place. I guess there's some talk now at the higher levels about maybe doing away with the early signing period. From your standpoint as a head coach, I'm curious if you're in favor of this early signing period.
I am personally, because it tends to accelerate. Well, it does accelerate things, and I think it really favors and helps out programs that have stability in their coaching staffs, because there's not scrambling, and when the coaching changes occur, they don't have as much time to recruit. And so, selfishly, I think it's good for us, and so that's our take on it.
Coach, when you look at some of the offer sheets in the class, there's the guy Lander Barton, an extensive offer sheet, Carson Tabaracci, another extensive offer sheet. What does it say about your program and where you're at?
It says that our brand is becoming stronger. We're building the brand year by year, and we're getting in just about every single door that we want to get in. Now, we're not getting all the players. Obviously, you got to still battle and try to get them signed, but we're getting in doors every year. It's getting to the point where there's almost no door that we can't at least get in or get some interest from the player, because our name is starting to be much more, it's just more prominent out there.
Now, I don't know if I can, I'd have to go back and look at it, but it seems like you were much more diverse in the sense of going all over the country this year. Is that kind of your plan, is just try to be more national, or are you still kind of trying to focus on those main areas?
Well, we still have our footprint that is the primary areas. In-state is where it all starts. We got 3 in-state guys this year that we're signing that we feel really good about. Southern California and California in general will always be a big part of what we do in recruiting. Texas, but yeah, we're expanding and trying to. It's not a concerted effort to go national, but I just think our name, as we just talked about, is becoming more nationally recognized. And players in Florida, particularly in Florida, we've had really good success with a lot of players out of that state, and our name is pretty good down there because of the success that those players have had. Zach Moss, Tyler Huntley, Damari Simpkins. I mean, just to name a few.
How how did winning the Pac-12 championship and going to the Rose Bowl help you sort of in the pitches and sort of these late flips?
Helps tremendously. The best thing you can do for recruiting and the thing that can make the biggest impact is winning. You know, it's great to have coaches that can evaluate and that can develop relationships with players. But if you want to say what is the one thing that boosts recruiting more than anything else, it's winning. And I don't think there's any doubt about that.
When you're out recruiting and you're talking to, especially parents and high school coaches, how much do you point to a guy like Devin who came in here as one thing and is leaving here as quite a different thing?
We use that, not use it, but we illustrate that to a lot of the players that we recruit. And you know, we've had their services throughout the country that rate you as far as your development of players within your program, and we always come out very high in those services, and we make sure that's just another selling point that we use. And we lean on to convince these guys that if they come here, they get a great chance to develop into the best player they can become.
How difficult is it to manage, when you talk about budgeting spots for your position groups, how difficult is it to manage that throughout the season?
More so now with the portal than it used to be. It used to be once your roster was set, very little change. I mean, you might have a guy or two here and there quit, but it is much more volatile now, much more movement. And obviously that's for the entire country. I'm not speaking for us in particular, but you can have a position group decimated pretty quickly with 2 or 3 transfers in the same, within the same position group. And so that's why we held back, like I said, X amount of scholarships to patch any holes that might arise.
This isn't recruiting, but Devin barely missed out on unanimous.
I know.
What does that say to you?
That says that there's one group out there that doesn't evaluate as well as the others, I guess, because he was. I can't even fathom that he is not a first-team All-American in everybody's eyes. But everyone has their own opinion, and I guess that was that entity's opinion, and so you move on. I mean, it's Devin Lloyd is going to be a terrific pro player, and he's got a bright future. So even though that's a little bit of a disappointment, that won't faze him. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
You said 9 early signees?
9, not early signees, but early enrollees.
That's what I meant,
Yep.
right.
9 guys will be here January.